Hi, my name is Marcelle Bakula, and I have been volunteering with Pacific Wildlife Care for over 13 years. Currently, I am Vice President, but I wear many hats here with Pacific Wildlife Care. Pacific Wildlife Care is the only licensed wildlife rehabilitation organization in San Luis Obispo, California County, and we have a full-time vet and a fully trained staff. Our clinic takes in around 25 to 2,600 animals a year. One year we hit 3,000. About 76% of our cases are birds. About, what's the percentage? 23% are mammals. And we get about 1% amphibians and reptiles. Our goal, of course, is to take in any orphaned, sick, or injured animals, treat them so that they're healthy, and return them to the wild. In 2019, Pacific Wildlife Care admitted 2,613 cases, and we're in mid-October, and we have about 2,350 cases at this time. San Luis Obispo County residents and visitors, as well as local agencies, call our 543 Wild hotline if they have any issues with injured, orphaned, or sick animals that they need help with. Our hotline is staffed by over 35 volunteers, 365 days a year. And sometimes they have to elicit the help of our rescue transporters. We have over 60 of them, and they help get animals from out in the wild back into our clinic to be helped. We want to welcome you today to our first ever Wild at Heart at Home virtual event. We normally would be having Superbration coming up this time of year, but it had to be canceled because it's COVID time. This is day 4, and I'm excited to share with you some information about raptors. Today is our raptor theme. In 2019, we admitted 263 raptors of over 18 different species. The most common raptors we see are barn owls, great horned owls, and red-tailed hawks. The largest number of raptors come in the spring and summer. In 2019, about 45% of our intakes were adults, and the rest were hatchlings, nestlings, and fledglings. PWC was successful in reuniting over 27% of the little hatchlings and nestlings either back with their parents or into foster parents after receiving a clean bill of health from our wildlife veterinarian. Whenever a bird can be reunited with an adult, they can be fed the right diet, they can discover how to be the kind of bird they are, they can learn the best places to find food, and most importantly, they don't become dependent on humans. Raptors are called birds of prey. And they may be diurnal, meaning that they feed during the day, or nocturnal, meaning that they feed at night. They have 3 specific characteristics that set them apart from all other birds. They have strong, grasping feet with talons used to seize their prey. They have a hooked beak used to kill prey, and a diet entirely of meat. Raptors are often at the top of the food chain, and so they are the bellwethers of a healthy ecosystem. Following our upcoming wildlife presentation, we'll be selling raffle tickets, which are $5 each or 6 for $20. And now, next up will be our education team, Tara Galanti and Kelly Vandenheuvel, with 2 of our non-releasable raptor ambassadors.
Hi, I'm Kelly Vandenheuvel, and I have with me Denali, the red-tailed hawk, today. I've been a volunteer rehabber and educator with Pacific Wildlife Care since 1984. And Denali has lived with me for the past 9 years. He came to me as a baby. And red-tailed hawks are very common in this area on the Central Coast and throughout North America. Their range is from Alaska all the way down to South America, and they are very common throughout the United States, as I mentioned. So they are the largest hawk you will find in the area. There are migratory hawks that are larger that you will see, but the red-tailed hawk is indeed the largest that we have locally that lives here. Denali is a male, so he is about 2.5 pounds, maybe 2.25 pounds, 30% smaller than the female red-tailed hawks. So he's a big bird, but not as big as the females get. And as you can tell, the red-tailed hawks, like most birds of prey and birds in general, blend in with their environment, and so they camouflage well. So here on the Central Coast, these colors, this bird was in the wild. He blends in with the trees and the landscape, and it makes them less a victim, to other birds of prey or other predators.
Hi, my name is Tara Galanti, and I'm also on the educational team here at Pacific Wildlife Care. And I have with me here Pip. Pip is an American kestrel. He is also a male. And you can see there's quite a bit of difference in size between the two. Pip is a falcon as opposed to a hawk. A lot of times people don't realize that there is a difference between the two, and they're different in several ways. For one thing, hawks, their talons are quite muscular. That's how they kill their prey, is that the grip of their talons. Whereas with Pip as a falcon, they have a special notch on their beak. So they grab their prey, and then they have a special notch on their beak that breaks their prey's neck very quickly. So that's one of the things that falcons have. And they're very fast, and they have very tapered wings. So whereas a hawk has broad wings for soaring, the falcons have more tapered wings for maneuvering and then diving quickly. So if you see the kestrel, sometimes you can see they'll be flapping in the wind. I mean, they'll be just flapping, and they'll just be like staying in one place, and then they'll dive down for their prey. So if I do this, you can see the shape of his wing a little bit. So you can see the two different wings together. One of the things that you can discern the male from the female in the kestrel is the gray wings on the back. So females have brown wings, and the male is quite colorful, actually, in terms of like ranges of blacks and browns and grays. And so you can see that the gray wing is on the male. You can also see the markings, which help the reflection of the sun, just like football players put the dark marks on their face when they're playing football. The kestrel has that kind of dark marking on their face.
And we also wanted to mention why we have these birds. So as many people know, Pacific Wildlife Care rehabilitates and releases our birds that come into the center back into the wild. So that is our mission. That's what we do here, is get them back conditioned. If they're sick, if they're orphaned, we teach them to live prey hunt, and we release them to the wild. In rare situations, we come across an animal that cannot be released back into the wild. And that is the case with all of our educational ambassadors. Denali came from the Sacramento area. He was found as a baby, and he has a congenital eye disorder. So physically he's fine, his body, he can fly, but he can't see well enough to hunt. So if he were released, he would not be able to survive. He also has imprinted on people, being around people when he was younger, and so he's pretty, he doesn't have the natural instincts as far as being afraid of people, and that would also be not helpful for him in the wild.
And the reason why we have Pip, when he was young, he was just fledging, and he flew into a window. You know how that happens sometimes. He just flew into a window, he came down, and the family dog caught him and broke his wing. I think that flying into the window broke his wing, but then the dog catching him was not good also. But he survived, he's healthy, but you can see his wing, his left wing kind of sticks out a little bit. That's kind of the sign that his wing was broken, and it is healed. It doesn't hurt, it's healed, but he couldn't maneuver and fly in the wild as he would have to survive. So they need to be super quick and really fast to hunt. So he wouldn't be able to do that.
And the other thing we wanted to touch on today is that most of the animals that come to our care because of man-made causes. So whether, it's a bird that flies into a window, or a domestic animal that gets in a bird, or fishing line, or a barbed wire fence, these are all reasons that these animals come to us. Also, a big important topic right now are rodenticides, and we're finding a lot of birds are being killed by secondary poisoning, which is because people put out poison for rodents, and these birds will eat these rodents that are staggering on the ground because they've been poisoned. They're easy prey, and especially for birds that have recently fledged, they're looking for easy prey. They don't know how to hunt well, and it will usually kill the birds.
And it's a very painful, sad death. So if there's any way you can avoid using rodenticide, rat poison, please try anything other than that. So thank you very much and thank you for coming to our show.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.